evening and welcome everyone to a very special edition of the Hawkins Report. I'm Arthur Hawkins. Hashtag Free Blue. You may have seen this hashtag trending on Twitter, and you may have also been at the demonstration that took place at the Department of Justice in downtown Los Santos, protesting for the release of notorious criminal Blue McKenna. She was given a 27-year criminal sentence, one of the longest recorded in the city's history. Her initial crime? Arson, which she talked about tonight at the hearing. Take a look.
Well, I walked into MRPD and I set a bike that I stole on fire in there.
Right.
Now that I look back, not very smart, but that's not the point here. Anyway, the fire, it didn't have the chance to spread that much. It was enough to, well, set this woman on fire. And she died. And
you knew this person, right?
I did not know that person.
You don't know the name of the person that was there with you?
No, ma'am.
Do you know the name of the victim of your crime?
I do not, ma'am.
Her case is full of incident reports and charges that were never filed, 23 of them to be exact. Not to mention there was an overall lack of rehabilitation efforts to help Blue McKenna reintegrate into a civilized person. It's the mission and sole purpose of the justice system to rehabilitate criminals so they don't become recidivists. And the shocking truth is, as we found out in the court records, it appears there was no effort to rehabilitate Blue McKenna, leading to one big question. Does our justice system really work? Who else is this happening to? Well, the Hawkins Report wanted to find out, and it appears the judge herself wants to know the answer to this question. And so she ruled there will be an investigation into the operations of the Department of Corrections and the Department of Justice to ensure they're respecting everyone's rights accordingly.
It is the court's finding that Blue McKenna has indeed faced many injustices within our system. There is extremely little evidence to show that there have been genuine rehabilitation attempts while she was incarcerated, and even less after her prior release to parole. There is evidence of gross negligence and even outright willful misconduct from members of both the Department of Corrections as well as the Department of Justice in relation to the treatment, the rehabilitation, and the release of Blue McKenna. Miss McKenna has faced many injustices within our system, both directly and indirectly at the hands of those two individuals. There is an extreme lack of evidence to show that that there has been any genuine rehabilitation attempts while she was incarcerated, and even less after her prior release to parole. And I will not entertain the ridiculous notions that either of them have suggested in passing the blame between each other. I will not hear any nonsense argument that they were somehow incapable of making better, more informed decisions that would have positively impacted Miss McKenna's well-being, or that the solutions that they offered were enough, that they did enough. And while I will state that they are not the only persons of which there can be blame attributed, there's just a preponderance of evidence, or really a lack of evidence of any well-doing, that there's just enough gross negligence and outright willful misconduct from the both of them in relation to the treatment, rehabilitation, and release of Blue McKenna. Today, I seek to right all of those wrongs.
Blue McKenna's testimony included admitting to having gun access while in jail and escaping prison 5 times. But would any of that have happened if she got out on time? That's right. Shocking reports revealed by the justice indicate Blue McKenna's parole hearing was scheduled to happen months ago, that the sentencing was incorrect, and to the dismay of the judge, was not executed properly, resulting in confusion and an already complicated sentencing for Blue McKenna. Listen to this.
Firstly, I will be issuing a formal request to the San Andreas Chamber of Oversight and Reform, insisting that they conduct an investigation into the Department of Corrections and their normal operating protocols to ensure that the injustices that you faced will not be forced upon another individual, and that those responsible for mistreatment face punitive action as appropriate. The court finds that while there had to have been some type of a verbal acknowledgement of some type between at least the former judge, Miss McKenna, and the warden, that there is very little written order recorded or released. What seems to be agreed upon by most people, some of whom we've received evidence from, is that many command members of the Department of Corrections and the San Andreas State Police acknowledge, at least vaguely, understanding that Miss McKenna was sentenced to parole and that there were agreements as to what those restrictions were going to be. But as to the specifics of what those restrictions are, there seems to be a great deal of confusion.
Now, I'm not a lawyer, but what I do have is my own opinion, and what I can say is that this is a sad moment in our country's history. We should be ashamed of this and work to ensure this never happens again to anyone. The moment Blue McKenna found out she was free will surely be remembered by anyone who cares about criminal justice reform. We want to show you a clip of this, so go ahead and take a look at this incredibly touching moment.
Time in Bolingbroke was truly a disservice to you. Based on the facts laid before me, I can see that it would be just outright irresponsible of me to put you back in the care of the Department of Corrections. And I mean this at no disrespect or willful neglect to acknowledge the hard work of the individual officers who are employed by the Department of Corrections, especially the ones who spoke here today. They, too, are faced with the injustice of working for a broken system on a daily basis. And for that, too, I sincerely apologize. I apologize to you, Miss McKenna, on behalf of the state's Department of Justice and the state's Department of Corrections and the great state of San Andreas itself. Today, you will be released from Bolingbroke Penitentiary, and you will be placed into a structured and effective parole supervision program. I have taken the time to draft and specifically outline the conditions in terms of your new program, and I'm going to take a vested interest in making sure that you're able to successfully complete this. Is that all understood by you, Miss McKenna?
Hell yeah.
We wanted to get an opinion about what was uncovered, and managed to get just a few words from Blue McKenna's lawyer, who had this to say when we asked him about it.
We've got her out, and she now has some formal parole conditions that she will abide by. And she's got it tough, but I believe in her. She can do it, and I'm proud that she is out, and it's down to the work of the legal team, and of course Blue herself, friends of Blue. But yeah, long road, but we'll get there, and hopefully she'll soon be free from parole.
There were also others who were excited to hear the news about Blue McKenna being released on parole, including Atticus McLaughlin, who Blue McKenna smiled at immediately upon entering the courtroom.
I have known Blue McKenna for ages at this point, probably about 6 months, 7 months, and is doing her best to stay on the straight and narrow, and I think she is genuinely looking to become a different person and be a better person.
We also got to speak to Blue McKenna, who was honest with us about the way she was treated by the Department of Corrections. Take a look.
Well, I sort of thought I deserved it. But I guess maybe I didn't deserve it. I did not expect it, but I am happy. I want to thank everyone. I probably would have been crying in prison right now without everyone. Thank you.
So it's clear. Our criminal justice system is certainly not perfect. Each department has to work together in order to ensure people like Blue McKenna can learn from their lessons and be offered the opportunity to be better in this life. We'll be keeping you up to date on any news as we continue to follow this story on the Hawkins Report. Stay tuned.